think about this. If you're hanging around with 5 people that are depressed, you're probably going to be the sixth. Because all that negative energy, and they're putting all their spirits, and they're saying every single day, I'm depressed, right? Or if you hang around with 5 people who's really positive, love life, experience everything, be grateful for everything, hang around with these people who have meaning, who have purpose, who are with God, who eat right, who train right, you're probably going to be the sixth. And it's like, what quality of life do you want? Like, who wants to be depressed? Who wants to be anxious? No one. But they still make the choices to be that way because they hang around with the same people and they do the same things day in, day out. It's okay because that's their comfort zone. But that's what I'm saying. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zone. If you want to become that type of person I just explained, where it's like you have the support system, you have God, you have, a fucking fulfilling life and you feel amazing, like, all the time, you're going to have to come out of that comfort zone, put yourself through some pain and, like, struggle to become that new person. But inevitably, you'll become happier. You'll have less anxiety. You won't be depressed. You'll have a good support system, which is what you want. And yeah, it just goes back to that one. If you have 5 people who's broke and you have 5 people who's rich, and depends on who you're hanging out with more, you're probably going to be the fifth or a sixth or whatever. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that does make sense. And I was thinking about this the other day. One of the most, I think, sort of potent pieces of advice I could give to someone who's anxious, not anxious actually, depressed. Because anxiety is a little bit more complicated. And I'm not saying that this isn't a panacea, it's not going to cure everything. But I am a huge believer. I had a guy on the podcast who was had a PhD or something in neuroplasticity or neuropsychiatry, and we were just talking about how he has witnessed and read about amazing recounts of people changing their lives and I suppose their sort of cortical brain structure as a result of simply changing the way you think. And I think I maybe am quite a biological determinist. I do think that we are born certain ways and we're not all born as blank slates, but I do think we are blank slates in the sense of every single one of us can, even if it will be really hard. Make no mistakes. It will be really hard depending on how entrenched you are in your way of thinking, can endeavor to be blindly positive, at least in the sort of early stages when you're really in the depths of it, and that will have a knock-on effect. I'll emphasize it again, it will be really hard, and you'll think this is a complete waste of time, a futile practice, and it will be more sort of pathological than that. Your brain, the devil in the brain, or the little voice of doubt will really raise its ugly head and look at you and call you everything it possibly can to make you stop doing this. But some people, that's all they have. They don't have anyone around them who they can go to. They don't have anything almost good in their life. They really are in awful situations, and that's the only thing I can plausibly think of that they can do, and they have complete control over it. And it can be beyond difficult, but I just think that's the best starting point you can take, and then you look elsewhere, and if that is the thing that you can, that's a point where when you're in the tunnel and it's pitch black, instead of seeing the tunnel at the other end, you can become the light, and that light that even if it's a glimmer of light, that will help you.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think you were saying about doubt there, and I think they may have doubt, and like everyone has doubt, if I'm going to be honest. But if you think about, like, they're not alone. They do have someone there, and it's God, like it's Jesus. Like, he is there for you if you accept it. Like, you know what I mean? And I think people forget about that because it's not spoken about enough. If you're really going through pain and struggle, if you're watching this right now or you're listening to this, and you're going through a lot of pain and struggle in your life, and you're going through a lot of anxiety, depression, and you're going through anything that's causing you any harm at all, any bad thoughts, anything, like, if you humble yourself right now and just say a prayer and say, in Jesus' name, I cast away all doubt, anxiety, and depression, and I want to be healed. In Jesus' name, amen. You say that, I guarantee you'll feel better. Like, I 100% guarantee that if you just sit in the Word of God and read the Bible, and again, you don't have to read the entire thing, but just read and just have faith. That's what faith's all about. It says in the Bible, 365 times in the Bible, right? So one every page or whatever it is. Sorry,
Every day.
one every day. One every day. For a year. Says, do not be afraid. Says, do not be afraid. Like, you're going to have doubt, you're going to have the anxiety, you're going to be fearful. Everyone's always fearful of something, whether that's, fearful of achieving this outcome that they've worked so hard to get, or fearful of not achieving anything. Like, there's fearful in every single thing. But if you just have that faith, it's going to work out, or you're going to get better. Like, I promise you it will get better if you just fucking go to God. Like, you're not alone. Like, I was like that. I was so fucking narcissistic. I was in this path of, like, this lone wolf, and it's terrible. Like, it's really terrible. Sure, I got a lot of shit done. Like I got a lot of shit done, but it didn't help me in every aspect of my life. But then, obviously, when I got closer to God and started getting around people that believed in God as well, it changed my entire perspective of life. Like, I'm not saying I'm happy and I'm lovey-dovey all the time. That's not the way I'm on about. But, like, you're gonna be normal. You're gonna be the way you are. But you're gonna feel improvement in your life, and you're just gonna feel that you are loved. You really are loved, especially if you do Jesus Christ. Yeah. So yeah.
Many people can become reliant on the sort of the whimsical, random nature of life and the highs and lows, because we all experience highs and lows. Unless you're, I suppose, clinically depressed, then you are exceptionally numb. But most people wake up some days and they feel great, and they wake up other days and they feel awful. And they have even if they do feel, even if they have a relatively meaningful and purposefully directed life, they still wake up with feeling completely zapped and void of motivation. And many people, and that's like an addiction is like an oscillation. So when you become addicted, it isn't just the highs that you're addicted that sort of perpetuate the addiction, it's also the lows. And I think God is a great example of God sits beyond out. The concept or the idea of God sits outside of that fluctuation, and it says, even if you are high, don't get too high, because pride comes before a fall, which is well documented in mythology, and I'm sure it will be in the religious text somewhere, yeah, Bibles. And the same when it's low, it's there to sort of undergird you and elevate you when you get too low. I don't know where was I going with this? I've gone off on a tangent with oscillation. Yeah, so the idea of God acts as almost protection, possibly, from those two, the arrogance of becoming too high and desperation that can come with being too low. If you, as you said, there's the art of surrendering is a very, very interesting idea, because what does it mean to surrender? Well, to be vulnerable,
It gives up control.
It gives up control. And what is interesting, because when we are vulnerable, you could say that. So when like animals are in like wolves are fighting each other, two male wolves are fighting each other, when one of them knows it's going to lose, it will get on its back and show its belly, and it basically is showing the guy, okay, you've won. I am now at your mercy. I'm showing you my most vulnerable things. And then the other wolf goes, okay, I could kill you right now, but you might become useful in the future, so I'm just going to let you go. And I don't know, just this thought cropped up as I was thinking about it. Maybe when we surrender to God, surrendering is almost protective, because it's not protective. When we feel like the ability to feel as if you can surrender, in a weird way, implies that you feel the wolf trusts the other wolf not to kill him, so he surrenders. Well, maybe when we surrender in that sense, we trust God to look after us, which is why surrendering, which is why we reach that conclusion. Like surrendering is a because it's very it sort of goes against a lot of what we're told societally, and also a lot of what we feel. We're told when we feel under attack that we should fight, and because surrendering sounds a bit like, well, there's the fight, flight, and freeze response. And surrendering sounds a little bit like the freeze, which doesn't really make sense. Actually, well, it doesn't really, does it? It's sort of an offshoot of the freeze response. But
I mean, it depends. I get what you're saying, but it just depends. Like, I think regarding to the fight or flight, it's not. I don't think it's the same as like surrendering all control to God. The reason being is because I want to clarify something, because when I say surrender all control to God, I don't mean like just think, okay, 10 grand a month, I'll do that. Like, not that, but I mean like the outcome, like surrender, like the outcome of what might happen, because again, you do not know, you cannot see the future. Just focus on right now. So let's say, for example, you want to get the 10 grand a month, like just for example. So focus on the inputs, okay, of how you're going to get the £10,000 per month. Focus on the inputs every single day. What's the things that's going to move the needle forward for my business to get to that 10K, right? And getting that 10K or not is irrelevant. Like, that's like, just put down in God. Just like, I don't want to focus on that, because my mind will go into a spiral. I will, that's the only thing I'll focus on. I will focus on what's at hand right now. So that's what I mean by giving up control. I mean control of the outcome and control of like what's going to happen, because again, you don't have control over that. So why would you think about it? Why would you give that power, if that makes sense? So that's what I mean by surrendering. And like, yeah, that's kind of what I mean by giving up control and surrendering to God. And again, that might not necessarily be right, but it's just what I've learned so far. I'm sure I'll learn more things as I go throughout this journey as well. But yeah, and there's probably other Christians or other people who believe in God that's going to watch this and just like, Jamie, yeah, like there's other stuff you could have said there. But it's like, it's all a learning process, and I'm still learning.
no, I understand what you mean. There's an emphasis in, I think, the Bible that the way to, and this ironically sort of is tethered with the positive side, not positive, what's the correct, the realistic aspect of manifestation, which is you should pick an ideal or a goal, and you should aim at that, and you should sort of orient yourself so that you're pointing in that direction, and you should
Yeah.
release all of the potential anchors that are holding you in your current position and
Yeah.
preventing you from moving forward. But once you have that point in goal, once you have that direction, you should then let go of expectation and let go of the outcome, and
Yeah.
trust in the process of moving towards it. And I think that's what the sacrifice is. It's in the same sense of when you plant a seed, if you dig it up every day to see if it's grown, if you keep doing that, it's not going to grow because you're continuously digging it up and you're not giving it time to ferment and manifest.
Yeah.
So I think that I think that's basically what you're saying, not the words in your mouth, but
Yeah,
in
no,
regard
no, you're right, right.
to under.
Going back to, again, I know we're on this topic for a while, but going back to what we were saying before of being, like being the flat person of the brokey, or being the flat person of the rich man, like or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in life, like whatever that goal is, you said it perfectly there. Just have, like, literally call out all the barriers that's going to hold you down from achieving that goal, and just focus on the task at hand, like the things that you can do to reach that goal. And then, yeah, that's what God is for me, though, is just like, He helps me, like, surrender the control of the outcome, and just focus on the small things at hand right now, because it's really like the suffering is not the work that you do, it's thinking about what's going to come from that work. It's just like that mental warfare that you have all the time, that you're overthinking about certain things. But if you can just get all that out of your head and just focus, okay, right, I need to send 100 DMs today. Like, just say, for example, if you want to reach 10K promotion, you want to get new clients, let's just say. So I need to send 100 DMs per day. Don't focus on anything else but doing that. And then the same thing the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and then you keep reiterating and trying to get better, and how can I improve this, and then you go from there. But focusing on, trying to be like, okay, from this 100, I'm gonna get, I'm gonna X clients from this 100. Like I'm doing that. That's 100% that I'm doing this. Obviously, you can have KPIs and all that kind of stuff, and you can have like goals and targets. Attach yourself from that, and that will be the outcome because you just don't know. Do you know what I mean? You really don't know, so there's no point like focusing on it. So just focus on the task at hand. And yeah, and sorry, I know I kind of just rambled on there for a bit, but that's pretty much the premise of what we're trying to talk about here. I think again, it comes into a lot of things.
Yeah.
I made the choice to stop smoking. I made the choice to stop drinking. I haven't drunk and smoking about 2 years. I made the choice to get around certain people I know that's going to benefit me. Like Adam, like the guys in the mentorship program, now all business partners, and then also like friends, family, like my closest friend now that has been one of my best friends for about 16 years, 17 years. Um, uh, I know him since I was free. Like we're sucked to hop. Like he's literally best friend. Me and him has been on this journey with God together and training together. It's been
Wow.
really, really, it's been amazing. Like I couldn't ask for a better friend. And I think having him around me, his name's Beatty, by the way, he's probably going to watch this, but I think having him around me is absolutely transformed my life. And I think it's transformed his life as well. And it's just incredible because if you have friends around you like that who are continuously supporting you, do not judge you, but always support you, it makes a big difference in your life. It really does. And then again, getting closer to God is definitely one thing. Friends, relationships, and then what's allowing me to make the correct decisions right now, I think it's just utmost clarity. It's just clarity. Because again, I'm giving up that control of the outcome. Like I don't care about the outcome. I care about the inputs I can do to literally push me a wee bit forward each time to achieve that outcome. If I achieve that outcome or not, I don't care. I really don't care. But because I'm focusing on the inputs, I'm gonna learn a lot more. I'm gonna be more fucking consistent. I'm gonna have more clarity because I know exactly what to do. I'm not focusing on other shit that doesn't need to be focused on. And that's why I have so much clarity right now, and also investing as well. Like investing in mentors, investing in friends, investing in books, investing in literally anything in your life, your health, your fitness. Like it all comes down to invest in yourself because then you have utmost clarity on what you need to do. Especially say for example, if you want to like get to 10K per month. I'm using this because most of my audience is like people who want to achieve that kind of number and that outcome. But yeah, so if you want to achieve that, invest in yourself, invest in mentorships, invest in programs, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be mine, but go to someone who's done what you want to do, and then from there, learn from them. Like offer them money, offer them whatever it may be, and just learn. Like don't worry about all the mistakes they made because they're going to teach you. If that makes sense, do not make them mistakes. That's what allows me clarity. Like that's the key word, clarity. And relationships and friends. It's a big unpack. It's a big little question, like, but it's our little answer. Sorry, but yeah, it's probably clarity mostly.
I like that word. God, I'm thinking of the title, How God Gave Me Clarity Over My Life. Something like that.
Yeah.
That's quite good. And that's so I got two more questions because we're nearly sort of at the hour mark. And one of them you just touched on actually, so it's very, very in keeping and a good little segue. I saw on one of your Instagram posts that you were talking about, or you'd written down like the 5 things that you'd learned whilst on this journey. And one of them was, or at least I read it / interpreted it as nowadays you're often sort of given the piece of advice by people, which is don't listen to anyone that hasn't achieved what you achieved in life. And I always think that that's a bit of rubbish, actually. I always think that because there are people that have achieved great things, but don't really know how they've achieved great things. And then there are people out there who are great analysts, what's the word? Analysts. An analyzer is not a word, isn't it? What do you say? Analysis.
It's just analysis.
Yeah, analysts of things. And if I wanted advice, I suppose the point I'm making out is, what's your opinion on the sort of the field of thinking that you should only listen to people that have achieved what you've wanted to achieve in life?
No, I don't believe that. I think everyone has their own perspective. Everyone has their own, like, it's good to have different perspectives on your life, but it's like, look at where you want to go. Like, really look at where you want to go, who's probably gonna have more knowledge. The person who, has done what you've done, because they have to go through all the pain and struggle that you probably need to go through to get to where they are and where you want to be, or someone who hasn't. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a very fine line. Like, there's going to be different perspectives that will help you through your journey. They probably won't be from the same person that you're going to invest in, whatever it may be. It's probably going to be from life lessons that other people within your family, within your friends, within relationships, people that you meet outside of your family or friends. They're going to give you some wisdom, some tips. It could even be from fucking YouTube content or even this podcast. It may, like, people might get some help from and some insights and perspective on. I think honestly, bro, it's just always left the perspective for sure. Always get a different perspective, but it really depends on where you want to go and what you want to achieve.
Yeah. Yes, no, I agree. And the thing about life is that within reason, everything is connected. So just because someone hasn't achieved what you're looking to achieve, they might have achieved something that is associated with what you've achieved to some degree or in some way, even if it's an unforeseen way, sort of an invisible way. And then they have some value to bring. So it isn't just the case that only go to people that have done exactly what you've done, because there are great lessons to be learned in all aspects of life. And even if they seem like they're disparately associated, there may be a nugget of wisdom that is transferable into what it is that you're trying to pursue. So I rate that. That's good. Okay. Final question. So it's called the Breaking Point podcast because I'm interested in people's either lowest or highest points, as we've already touched on the sort of the ideology behind it, and also I suppose specifically you. Can you think of a point where you at the lowest point and what that was like, and what it was that made you go, right, I need to make a change, or I need to sort of move out of this current way of thinking because I'm going to self-destruct or implode or explode?
That's a very, very great question. Like, it really has taken me back now a lot, I'm going to be honest, but there was a point that it was a terrible point in my life, and it was like with that ex-girlfriend that broke up with me at that time. Yeah, I was a very nasty person, bro. Like, I was very, very nasty. And I treated her wrong, I treated her bad. And I realized then, because that's not how I was raised, that's not how I was, that's not me, if that makes sense. But it was because I was so lost, and I was big. Like, there's no excuse for it. But, like, there's literally no excuse. It was me and that decision. But because I didn't have the people around me in my life that I now do, I don't have the same values. I wasn't close to God. I really had no morals, if I'm going to be honest. So I just didn't really care all that much at that time. And then I was like, I realized then, so as soon as I did that, I was like, this ain't me. Like, this is my lowest point right now. I need to change. And then obviously, like, we broke it off, and we went to separate ways, and that kind of just, it got me thinking, right, I do need to change as much as possible, right? And I need to, like, this person is going to lead me down the path of destruction. So to me, it's really upset. So I was like, yeah, fuck that. I'm gonna change my life. And then now I'm here 2 years later.
And fair play to you, man.
Thanks, bro.
And I think you've got an exceptionally noble and wise outlook on life, and yeah, you should just keep doing with what you're doing. Yeah, just continue to grow, not just from a business perspective, but also from a personal and psychological and just general being perspective. So yeah, I think I'll now stop recording, and there we go.